You're listening to Solihull Radio.
Hello and welcome to another Solihull podcast brought to you from the Solihull Observer and Solihull Radio. And also this week we've got Touchwood in the house. My name is Claire Bullivant from the Observer and we're back at home at our home studio Solihull Radio this week with Mr. Radio himself, Mr. Geoff O'Brien. And also we've got a very special guest today who has a very special occasion going on also today. He is the General Manager of Touchwood Shopping Centre. That is 18 years old today. Can you believe it? It's the man who makes our shopping here in Solihull so spectacular. It's Mr. Tony Elvin. Welcome to the studio, Tony.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Do we sing happy birthday now or afterwards?
I think we could,
Sing it now, yeah.
Yeah?
I
Are you
think
ready?
The normal format is you sing at somebody and then they stand there looking awkwardly at
Awkward.
you, don't they?
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
you
right.
finish. Yeah, we can do that.
And then we finish, then we clap.
There we go. Well, we did bring you a cake.
I know. I was so impressed.
You're being very restrained. You haven't dug in there yet.
No, not yet. I'm gonna smash it when we're finished. Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
So
Great.
happy birthday. I can't believe Solihull is 18. I mean, Touchwood is 18 today. I mean, it doesn't seem 18 years ago since...
Listen, I moved into the area in 2013, so it's not been, there for me from the start. But what I've seen some of the photos when I've walked around Touchwood of the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
The Queen.
The Queen, she wasn't there on opening day. She came afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was such a big thing that the Queen came to Solihull to officially open Touchwood.
Well, I was obviously a very small child at the time. But,
Yeah, very small. Very small.
but I do remember it coming to Solihull and opening, and it was like a massive thing. How long have you been here in Solihull?
Well, do you know, I have to say, I started seeing these sort of giant illuminated 18 numbers coming into the office, big kind of refrigerated unit to put cakes in with 18 on the front. I thought, that's so nice. They're celebrating my 18 months at Touchwood. But it was nothing to do with that. It was... It was 18 years.
That's what we bought the cake for. The cake, cake is for your 18 months at Touchwood.
Yeah.
So, but you're from the hospitality world.
I am. I'll tell you a brief little story about how we came to live in Solihull. I've been a resident in Shirley now for 10 years. I was living in Northampton at the time. I was coming to open the Village Hotel in Shirley. And we loved living in Northampton. We had a great network of friends. But the town centre had become really tired. It was nearly all boarded up and closed down. One of the indoor shopping precincts had closed down entirely. And we came to Solihull for the day just to have a look, scout it out and see where I'd be working. I was just amazed that everything was open. It was so vibrant. And Touchwood, that and the great schools was the deciding factor of me, rather than commuting from Northampton, was to actually set up home. And I don't see any reason why we'd ever move from Solihull. We've made it our home and we love it here. So Touchwood, when that opportunity came up for me to run Touchwood, I didn't need to be asked twice. So, yeah.
And what exactly is your role then? So, general manager, what do you do? Apart from everything, obviously, but...
Okay, so obviously making sure that it's a safe environment. We have 14 million visitors a year. So
Wow.
you can imagine if you have 14 million visitors going through any area on the planet, strange things are going to happen, and we need to look after people. People might have a poorly episode, and we need to be ready to keep them safe. Or the whole safety thing with modern terrorism and all the rest of it. Something that we you wouldn't think of. That we're constantly reviewing plans. We meet with the police, and you can be rest assured that you're in a really safe environment. Obviously, any shopping centre needs to be busy. So I'm responsible for footfall. I'm responsible for that centre being busy, and therefore all the marketing events. I have specialists that look after different things: security, entertainment, events, a marketing manager. But obviously, as a general manager in any business, you coordinate everything. You oversee everything that goes on. Probably something that wasn't part of the original job description because it's taken care of by a leasing team down in London, is making sure that the centre is fully occupied or very busy. If we look at the UK retail sector, the average vacancy rate in a shopping centre or high street currently sits at 11%. It was something we were able to share with everybody earlier on our 18th birthday celebrations down in the Mall. The mayor came along and had a little chit-chat and a few cakes, and something we were able to share that we're looking to be fully occupied within the next few months.
Fantastic. I did see that. And I have to ask you this, why did you give the mayor an umbrella?
Okay, so Geoff, you mentioned earlier that the Queen came to.
That's
to
right.
Solihull.
Yeah.
Well, on the day there was a few spots of rain, and one of the Queen's aides said, "Could somebody give us an umbrella?" So the current mayor of Solihull, Stuart Davies, had his umbrella on hand. He passed it to the Queen, and it never came back.
Ah, the Queen, the naughty Queen.
there you
got
go.
the umbrella.
Job done.
So when I heard this, obviously I got on the phone to Buckingham Palace. So
Yeah.
we need that umbrella back. It's a very special occasion, and there we were able to reunite. It was in a little special box that said Touchwood. I think the Queen thought it was a memento of the day, but we've got it back.
You've
for the mayor.
made traditions.
Yes,
How
yeah.
amazing. I remember reading in The Observer, quite recently actually, isn't Touchwood the #1 regional shopping centre in the country now?
Yeah, this year at the Revo National Shopping Centre Awards, Touchwood won Provincial Shopping Centre of the Year.
Amazing.
That's brilliant.
It is brilliant. We are lucky. I love
I
Touchwood.
know.
I go all around the country shopping. I definitely know my shopping, and I promise Touchwood is my favourite shopping centre.
Good.
It's incredible. You've got the stores. You've got always a great atmosphere. It's always like busy, never manic, but just busy enough to feel happening.
Yeah, we want people to, although it is busy, we want people to feel like it's a relaxed, premium environment, that you feel safe and you feel comfortable and relaxed. And that's what we set out to deliver. That is the Touchwood experience, and it's why people travel from the other side of Birmingham to come to here rather than going to the city centre, for example.
So what are we doing to celebrate them?
So over the weekend, we've got a selfie station where you can go and have a picture of yourself with the Happy Birthday Touchwood. If you tag in the Touchwood18 hashtag and you post it on social media, you could be in with the chance to win a £50 Touchwood gift voucher.
Oh, nice. Fun.
Yeah. Okay.
So that should be good fun over the weekend. So do drop by and come along and do that.
Brilliant. And what are you doing then later to celebrate?
Pretty much every day for me is a bit of a celebration. So, well, do you know, shall I tell you a few of the as yet unannounced new businesses coming into Touchwood? Yeah.
Breaking news.
Okay, so
This is an exclusive.
So something we've got a clear plan of what we want to do at Touchwood and how we want to evolve the centre. So we know that traditional bricks and mortar retail is under pressure, and so but if I'd ask you the question, or anybody listening, what is actually, we talk about convenience being a driver for online sales, but actually if you were sitting outside of the store on a bench and you had a phone in your hand, what would be easier? It probably wouldn't be faffing around with a little tiny image on the screen, trying to flick through and, oops, you didn't mean to quite get to your shopping basket yet and all the rest of it. Or just to walk in the shop, try on the clothes, find out they don't fit already before you order it online and have to send it back. So convenience being a driver for online, yes, if you're already at home. But if we can give you other reasons to come into Solihull, if we can put on great events, compelling reasons to come to Touchwood, and actually we're trying to evolve our offering so there's a greater balance of leisure within the centre than just retail. That if you're there already, it's far more convenient to actually go and buy from a bricks and mortar store.
Absolutely.
So that's the strategy. That's where it sits. And as I said earlier, really there's a dedicated leasing team that are responsible for putting new businesses into Touchwood. But I really believe, and when I left my last role in Birmingham to come back to Solihull, to Touchwood, I was speaking to different restaurants and bars about maybe coming to Touchwood, and they said, no. People in Solihull, they don't want independence, they want brands. I said, I live in Solihull. We want a balance. I think trusted brands are great. Yeah, have a look at the queue outside Wagamama's and Nando's every day in Touchwood. That tells you people like trusted brands. But equally, we've now got Asher's in there. We've now got Jamea in there as well. And those guys are doing great because people want to, they're both Solihull owned businesses as well. So that money's going back into the community. And you want a point of difference. If every shopping centre has got exactly the same stores, exactly the same restaurants, then you may as well just go to the one nearest to you. Mm-hmm. We're trying to, create something a bit more compelling that means you have to come to Touchwood because it's better than everywhere else. And we've got some things that are unique. We've got a bowling centre, a 4-lane bowling centre. So it's restaurant, bar and bowling. That's going to be going in upstairs on next door to the cinema.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with Yakinori. It's a local independent Japanese chain. A little bit different to Wagamama's. Think sushi, bento boxes, so ideal for popping in at lunchtime to grab and go, take something back to the office, or to sit in. They can have a private dining room as well. It's still going to have your noodles and ramen and everything else. So that's going to be a great concept. I've already seen some 3D drawings of pagodas and all the rest of it that are going to be in and outside of the Yakinori noodle bar.
Whereabouts is the noodle bar in the centre?
That's going to go into the old Druckers site.
Oh, okay,
So
on the
quite
corner.
a big unit there, yeah. The bowling will be upstairs next to the cinema, first floor of what was the old Gap unit.
Mm-hmm.
Downstairs at Gap is going to be split into 2 retail units. We've got a ladies' fashion coming in on one half, and we've got a tech supplier coming next door. Can't quite reveal those names just yet.
Yep.
Then we've got Foam World coming in, taking a small unit, and so a number of new openings coming into Touchwood. Yakinori, again, it's local, it's independent.
And so once you've got all those in, it will be 100% occupied.
One more. So the old Bravissimo site where we had the crazy golf during the summer, which went down a stall.
Oh, yeah.
We're actually sorry to pull that out because it was so popular and so busy. That we're going to be replacing that with that was something we put on ourselves. It was a pop-up just to drive people into Touchwood. That's come out already. Builders are in there, and that will be Foot Locker, open before Christmas.
Fantastic. That's a good spot there, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, on the atrium.
Yeah. Oh
really
my
good.
goodness, it all sounds like it's amazing,
It's
and you're
exciting.
doing a great job.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
18 years.
Yeah.
Have you got any historical records of when it was opened 18 years ago? Who were the big players that you had installed in Touchwood?
Who were the stores that were there at the time?
Well, who were the main draw?
When you look back, I mean, John Lewis is always the main draw. And
sure.
we do have some good news that, I mean, any tenant, any of our businesses within Touchwood are on 5, 10, 15, 20-year leases.
Mm-hmm.
John Lewis have renewed their lease with us, which is pretty critical to Touchwood,
that
but
is.
nevertheless, great news, and they're there for at least another 12 years. So that's really good news. And John Lewis are doing really well. You hear about
Debenhams and-
exactly.
House of Fraser.
But if you are good enough, you do well enough. And a number of people said to me, "Why are you going from hospitality to retail?" And maybe it's sort of blind confidence and stuff. But I love Touchwood as a customer coming into Touchwood. I appreciate its value, and I really felt that there was an opportunity to do something special, and to I think that's what we're doing.
Well, it sounds as though you've got the right cocktail of hospitality and the retail aspect, because in another 18 years, who knows what's going to happen to our high streets? We're having to pull people in, as you say, for more of an experience.
Absolutely,
And that's the only way that our high streets and these shopping centres are going to survive, isn't it? So it sounds as though you've got your finger on the pulse, because a lot of shopping centres across the country, they're not doing it so much, are they?
No, that's right. And you're seeing shopping centres all over the UK close down, and Andy Street, big campaign to save the high street within the West Midlands, and it is critical because whilst it's we all do it, we all buy online, but actually, if you take those high streets away and you only have retail parks, what happens to that community in that area? Where's that meeting place?
What happens to Britain? Yeah, it just won't be Britain anymore, will it? Tony, thank goodness we've got you here in Solihull, saving our shopping centre and making it absolutely so fantastic, because we do all love Touchwood. You're doing an incredible job, and happy birthday from us. You're going to stick around, aren't you?
Oh, I'm going to stick around. And it was just one other thing I wanted to mention, and the most important thing for Solihull's success is collaboration. And so one of the first things on my list, working closely with the bid, with the chamber, with the council, the police, Mel Square, the Observer, of course, all these
the radio
institutions. Absolutely, yeah. And Geoff, we've worked very closely since you opened here, and done whatever we can to support that. So, we all need to work together. It's not one person's job. We can't place the blame on anybody for anything going wrong, and that means the local people that live here as well. We need those people to shop locally and to talk up the great story that's happening in Solihull. So, it's teamwork, and I meet with my counterpart at Mel Square for a pint at the Tap and Tan door or somewhere in Touchwood, and we talk about, how can we work together? Because nobody comes to Touchwood just to shop at Touchwood. They come to Solihull and then they shop at Touchwood. So it's really key that the whole town centre is bristling, and if when we're fully let, we can't accommodate anybody else, are absolutely with full confidence pass those people on to one of our, in inverted commas, competitors, so that they're doing well as well.
Amazing. Well,
coming back from your win at the Revo Awards,
yes,
do any of, quotes, your competitors come and visit you to see how your model is working, or do you share experience and share positivity or those things with other people, or is it all in-house and kept quite close to your chest?
No. So we're quite liberal and open about what's working and what's not working. So although Touchwood is a one-off, it's owned by a company called Lendlease.
Mm-hmm.
It's operated by a company called Workman, who employ me, and Workman manage a number of shopping centres across the UK. They're one of the largest shopping centre management companies. They also do lots of building surveying and lots of other things as well. So there's a lot of collaboration within Workman, but also we absolutely welcome anybody from a rival to come and see what we're doing. I go visiting other shopping centres to see what they're doing well, and in anything there's not many new ideas. It's like, who's doing something really well that you could perhaps adapt and you think would work well for you locally.
Yeah, and sharing good practice.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
I know it's only September, but last Christmas your Christmas lights were incredible, and I remember your video, Geoff, that you
Thank
did
you very much.
through Touchwood,
Thank
which
you.
was absolutely insane. Are you going to be doing that again this year?
We are, yeah. We're desperately looking for somewhere to put our snow pit this year. It went so well last year, but because
You're 100%
we'll have no
there.
stores.
Yeah.
I mean, for Christmas they won't all be open and trading, but there are builders in those units working on them.
Right.
Some of these projects take a little while, but especially when you're reconfiguring whole units and putting new walls in and all the rest of it. But
That's right. Will the TP be back for
the
outside?
TP will be back. Yes. Yeah.
Great stuff.
Amazing.
Cocktails.
Cozy little TP bar, bit of mulled wine.
Brilliant. Well, as I say, we are very lucky to have you, and you're going to stick around because we're going to come back with this week's top news stories that we'll be discussing, and we'll be right back.
Solihull Radio.
Welcome back, and we're going to now discuss some of the top news stories this week that are in the Solihull Observer. And we're going to start off with our front page news story. This is all about MPs backing the government in the historic Brexit vote. I'm sorry to mention Brexit, guys, because everyone's just going mad for it at the moment, aren't they?
It is.
It's difficult to avoid it, isn't it?
It is, and it is our front page story this week. So we've got one local MP, our Meriden MP, Dame Caroline Spielman. She is against Boris, and then our other local MP, Julian Knight, is for Boris. Yeah. What do we think about all this, guys?
Well, it's tricky, isn't it? There's definitely Brexit fatigue as a possible diagnosis for people now, and without getting too political too early on in our discussion, Boris is obviously up against the wall a little bit, because it seems as either way it falls, it's not going to go his way in the short term. So it's a rock and a hard place at the moment, isn't it?
Do we think our local MPs should just go with what their constitutions voted for, or do we think that they should go with their gut feelings announce it to the world?
The constituents in our area was Leave, wasn't it? So
very much so, I think.
So a really big sort of swing that way. So why, and this is a question for both of you, because I'm not completely convinced if I understand it completely, 650 people in the Palace of Westminster, how can they put such a spanner in the works for that process that took place in 2016?
This is what constantly gets me as well. But I think they're feeling like they're saving the country. But yeah, it's one of those dilemmas, isn't it?
I think if we take the UK view, Parliament is a bit of a microcosm of how the country was feeling. And yes, democratically, we voted to leave. We did. There were more people voted to leave than voted to remain. And but it's such a fine margin, isn't it? If you speak to two people in the street, one said one said they want to leave, one said they wanted to stay. So, and I think we're seeing that play out. So you can't get, we've got a weak government that doesn't have a majority, so they can't just push things through Parliament. So we're stuck with that malaise where you just can't quite get in, because there's not just two scenarios, is there? There's the no deal, there's the deal, or there's Remain, and we cannot seem to gather enough momentum to do one or the other. Now, from my perspective, the thing that upsets me the most is the division that is driven within the country, because it's such a fine margin either way. It's caused for a lot of fallout. It's given people license to give quite extreme views because they now think that's acceptable. And we're really we must be the laughing stock of the world, really, looking at we can't make our own mind up.
Well, I think the rest of the world, I read a very good article actually in American, one of the American papers, and they were saying that in a true democracy, even if it was one person extra who voted to leave, we should have left. That's what a true democracy with common law entails. So the fact that everyone's saying, oh, it's so close, we can't, it was a bit wishy-washy. That's what gets me. I think even if, love him or loathe him, Piers Morgan keeps banging on about it, doesn't he? He was a Remainer, but he keeps saying he respects the vote and we should have left. But my question here as well is, should our MPs be respecting their constituents, or should they just be doing their own thing as well?
I absolutely agree with you on that question. Caroline is facing some serious questions over these last couple of days as well for voting against the motion. So what's going to happen?
We need to get her on the show, Geoff.
I did invite her on the
Have
show
you?
today, but as of today, I haven't heard anything back yet.
She's probably pretty busy today. Yeah.
she's got quite a lot on her task list today, I think. But I'll also get in touch with Julian as well, with his team over on the Warwick Road, and see if we can get them into the station here.
And let us know what you think, if you've got any ideas or ways we can solve this whole thing.
Just coming back to Tony's point, it's not just no deal, this deal and that. Also, there's the soft option, isn't there, of still being in the market, and all of the different elements. And then people like Donald Tusk are saying, yeah, we've not heard from you. And then people like Boris are saying, yes, but we're doing this, and this. So who do we... And this is where the fatigue comes from.
Yeah.
There's probably so much we don't know. There's probably a lot going on behind the scenes that the general public aren't,
And because so much time to take... this is my last point. I'm sorry about this. You know a little bit more than me, so I'm going to ask loads of questions and try to understand it. Because so much time has elapsed since then, people have changed their minds.
And that's apparently worked both ways.
I'm sure, yeah. Yeah, I would have preferred to remain. However, we're so far down the line now. I mean, I really don't agree with this taking no deal off the table. I desperately don't want a no deal Brexit, but... if you take no deal off, where's your bargaining chip? How can you then go and get a better deal from the EU? What businessman goes into any negotiation with one hand tied behind their back or saying, do you know what, I'm going to let you have it anyway, just give me a little bit. Absolutely crazy.
And this is it. A lot of them aren't businessmen.
No.
Business people, I should say.
Career politicians.
They really are. They haven't got a clue how you negotiate deals sometimes.
I stayed up late last night and watched the House of Lords debate on the...
Fascinating, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. And they were trying to time out, weren't they, early on yesterday evening. What do they do? Talk it down, is that what it's called? When you just stand up, and there were 90 amendments just to the motion, not to the bill. So they had to stand up and sit down, and they have to vote twice on each of those amendments, so it would be 190 votes for 500 people before they started debating the bill. And then, of course, somebody stood up this morning and said, we need to get this into Royal Ascension by the close of business Friday, so let's not debate all of this.
Well, aren't they all bringing up like laws from 1678 and that?
It's like House of Cards, isn't it? Or something, this sort of political engineering and... Yeah.
And I just thought these guys have got to vote almost 200 times, and that's going to take some time to get them out of the chamber, back into the chamber, and then, of course...
It's a farce.
Absolutely.
It's such a shame because, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like him, but everything else Boris was doing was really kind of good news. The 20,000 extra police officers and all the money for the NHS and 2,000.
20,000. 20,000, yeah.
20,000.
It's the 20,000 that they just took off the streets a few years ago, but
Right.
that they're putting back. But I mean, it did seem like a bit of a shopping list of all the things we want to hear as well,
But I
didn't it?
don't
Because
care.
there's a general election coming.
But do we care as long as it happens?
Well, but there you go, as long as it happens. So, that was very popular with me. I know locally our police need more support. They need more resource. They do great work with the time and resource that they've got. But it must be overwhelming for them, and they need more support.
Do we know how the two Solihull bid officers are working out on the high street? They've started now, haven't
I've
they?
seen them in the local, in the Observer. Have you had any dealings with the two?
Solihull bid put two officers on the street.
Oh, sorry,
So,
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, they're doing really well. Yeah. They've been a very welcome addition to the streets, and so two security officers. I guess Mel may have told you about this on a previous show. Deployed into the town centre, deterring shoplifting, general antisocial behaviour, anything else that might be going on within the town.
But it's a shame that the local bids are having to do this sort of thing rather than having police officers on our high street, isn't it? That's a sign of the times. So
But equally, it's good that somebody can do that and put some private
Absolutely.
security on at a time where we're lacking in resource. I think we would love to hark back to the days of the Bobby on the beat. But I guess the other thing is there's all the police resource that you don't see, stopping cybercrime and, paedophile rings and things like that are not Bobbies on the street. The world has changed and they're having to fight on a number of different fronts that sometimes take place in an office. And
Absolutely.
Yeah,
good point. Very good point.
I've had the local policing team in here to have a chat so that we're working with them now and putting out their alerts so that people can see through our social medias what's going on in Tudor Grange Park and Malvern Park and things like that, and in the town centre. So Rob is my PCSO link.
Brilliant.
Nice
Very
guy.
Good. Yeah, very good. Moving on, let's do a different story now. This is page 3 of this week, and this is all about organ donation. It's Organ Donation Week this week, and Solihillians are being urged to talk to their families about organ donation. Apparently, last year, 435 people in the West Midlands were saved by an organ transplant, and there are also now, at this very moment in time, 615 still waiting. As of spring next year, 2020, we're all going to be on the register. It's going to be an opt-out system, which I think is amazing. But there's still time at the moment to save these people and put yourself on the register and just talk to your friends and family. What do we think about the opt-out system that's coming?
I agree with Tony. Absolutely brilliant. The spanner in the works that I'd like to just put out there is in some religious backgrounds, do they have a different opinion after people pass for them to have their particular organs taken away before the procedures and things like that? Because we live in a very multicultural environment in Solihull. So if they're considered automatically on the register and then it's taken back...
They do, and I think there are some cultures that you can only give your organs to the same culture as well. So, which is a very kind of worms, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
That in.
Yeah, then let anybody that feels they need to do that opt out, and with whatever condition they need to apply. And but yeah, absolutely, there'll be so many people that organs could have been used to help save that haven't been just because a box wasn't ticked and we didn't fill in a form. Or so if that's got to be the way to go. And appreciating all different views. If you feel that you must opt out, then fine, but it's still probably going to give them, I don't know what the ratio would be, 10 times as many organs to work with.
Yeah, I had to write an article about this recently, actually. And the average person who dies, sadly, they can save, if they're quite healthy when they die, they can save 9 other people.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
Brilliant, yeah.
So do talk to your friends and family about it and make sure that they know your wishes. And just be aware, as of spring next year, we're all going to be on the register. So if you do want to opt out for religious or cultural or whatever reason, you don't even have to give a reason. You just need to let them know and make sure you do that.
There's a website here as well. For more information or to register, you can visit www.organdonation.nhs.uk.
Great. And then our last story that we're going to talk about today is all about car cruising. Guys, I don't even know what car cruising is. What is car cruising? But I know everyone's talking about it in Solihull.
I'll tell you what car cruising is. Car cruising is youngsters in souped-up small cars making a racket driving past my house, driving round the roundabout, waking me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, me hopping around like a lunatic in my boxers. You don't want to see. Sorry for painting that image.
Hold on a second.
Luckily, nobody listening to the podcast knows what I look like. So, honestly, it's quite frightening for my wife, and that's just me running around the bedroom. So, I'm really pleased to see that this bylaw has been refreshed because antisocial behaviour is something that...
So what are they doing? Are they racing each other or are they just going fast?
Yeah, driving up and down the road. Literally tearing up and down the road at high speeds.
And
in the middle of the night.
Without giving you away your address or whatever.
Yeah.
What sort of road do you live on? Is it like a long straight road that's perfect for...
It's a pretty, apart from during school run time, it's an otherwise quiet road off of the Stratford Road in Shirley.
Okay, because this must be happening all over the place because we keep running stories about it in the paper. I've just never seen it and I just keep reading about it.
Recently, I've seen some of the outcomes. Do you remember a few weeks ago, I don't know if you were away at the time, but towards the end of the Stratford Road, the Porcelanosa roundabout, there's quite a severe accident there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And those traffic lights down there, that is towards the end of quite a fast run for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they can't control it, and then they fall over onto the roundabout and unfortunately hurt other people and, normal road users that are just using the road. I agree with you. Dual carriageway.
Joking aside about my annoyance in the bedroom, that sounds terrible. The clear risk to life of these young people that, whilst they're doing something a bit reckless at the age of 17, 18, 19, have got a lot to offer for years to come, and we'd hate that to be our kids caught up in anything like that.
Yeah, well, it's been banned again for another few years at least.
When you say banned, how does this bylaw work?
Well, I don't suppose people automatically stop doing it. In fact, I can tell you that's
Yeah.
the case. That they don't just stop doing
They've got
it.
a text, we can't do it anymore.
Yeah. So, and I guess if we've got another 20,000 police officers, it's only going to help try and stop this. But it did feel, certainly, it feels like this happens less. But I think with any bouts of antisocial behaviour, these things go through waves, don't they? Because then people grow up a little bit and go, can't believe I used to do that. And
then
the next wave of
the next crew come
kids of
along.
a certain age, whatever that antisocial behaviour is, quite often.
Well, it's saying in the paper an injunction will remain in place now until September 2022. So hopefully it's just harsher sentences. And then on page 9, a car cruiser who was caught doing 115 miles per hour has actually gone to prison. So, I mean, hopefully those harsher sentences will be a deterrent, because you say it's not nice for people like you who have to put up with it, but it's also horrendous if they do crash and kill themselves or anyone else. So
and I was just reading that article in the newspaper. That's a dual carriageway out near the airport that he's doing 115 miles an hour on.
Yeah.
And, there's so many roadworks out there at the moment, and all the road closures.
Yeah. And often it just takes a deer or something or a bird to spook you, doesn't it, when you're doing that? And no one else even sees there.
But they've spent 20 quid in Halfords, haven't they, on, new parts for their cars, and they've tried really hard. Like you say, Tony, they're normally small cars that they've tried to make go a little bit faster.
They've tried really hard.
They've tried really hard on that. They've looked at a couple of websites, and,
Well, if you're listening to this podcast, kids, don't car cruise, because, even if you do want to, you can still have a really nice car and try really hard.
Absolutely.
But
Have
you
you
don't need to race
seen this
it.
crazy, the kids going around on their mountain bikes and all the rest of it, riding indoors?
No.
I think it was in Brighton where 12 kids rode through Marks and Spencer's.
Oh, no.
Causing absolute havoc.
You're going to give people ideas now in Solihull,
There you go.
riding
Edit
through
that bit out.
Touchwood.
No.
Yeah.
There's an element of antisocial bicycle riding by groups of youths at the moment. So
Wow.
it's something that's been tackled.
Actually, that happens in LA quite a lot. I lived in LA for quite a while, and you have like midnight bike rides where everyone gets together through the night and drives through and breaks into shopping centres and drives.
really? Yeah.
And they cause havoc. It's actually really good fun to start with, but then they all kind of get a bit crazy and so.
Dear.
Back in my day, it was the bicycle crew that got ET back safe to his spaceship, and
That's it,
BMX
yeah,
Bandits was about the worst
right.
it got. But
Times were safer then.
they were.
For me, it was the Goonies riding around some lanes, on a tiny little bike that he was massively oversized for. Do you remember when he stole it from the little girl?
Yeah.
Mikey and Chunk.
Oh, there you go. Welcome to our world.
Which is why we love Stranger Things. It takes us back to that 80s nostalgic American pop culture reference.
Oh, great stuff.
Brilliant. Well, I think
But don't do it in Solihull.
No.
We're talking of stranger things. We've got some not so strange things coming up in our What's On section, so stick with us and we'll be right back with this.
Solihull Radio.
Joining us now is one of our fantastic guests who comes to us all the way from Bromsgrove, effectively, and it is Eleanor. Now, she deals with all the PR and press for the Artric Centre. Now, when I've been speaking with Claire about the Artric Centre, you've had some dealings with Eleanor. Is that right, Claire?
Eleanor and I met just a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it, Eleanor?
That's right. It was when it was very sunny. It feels a bit more autumnal now, doesn't it?
It does. The weather's changed, but what a treat to get to chat to you again and hear all about Bromsgrove this time, because last time it was all about Worcester.
That's correct, yes. I've got my Bromsgrove hat on today.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about the Artric Centre and what can we expect over the next week or so here on What's on Solihull.
So we're just kind of getting back up and running, having had a short summer break. And over the next week or so, there's some great live music and also some great cinema screenings taking place.
Right. So
on Friday the 6th, we've got two shows in the evening, actually. One called The Country Chicks, with an X. CHIX.
And is this like country American music?
Yeah, that's right. It's 3 female vocalists and musicians, and they kind of do a sort of modern take on country music. So they put a country twist on some songs that you might be familiar with that aren't normally country songs. It'll be a really fun live music event, lots of dancing, I think, in the audience.
Great stuff. And so that's on the Friday night?
That's Friday, and we've also got the acclaimed singer and bassist Miranda Sykes on Friday as well. And then on the Saturday, Saturday the 7th, we've got one of our Saturday family matinee cinema screenings. So these are regular events at Artrix every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock.
Great stuff.
A family cinema screening. And this week it's The Lion King, so the new live-action Lion King.
Amazing.
So great if families have perhaps been back to school this week and looking forward to a weekend treat, having been back at school. That would be a great morning out, I think. We do family tickets for £14 for a family of 4, so it's great value.
Great stuff. Okay.
Eleanor, you must have the best job in the whole world, because you must get to go to all these things and take your family and tell us about it. Is it the best job in the world?
I mean, I don't know if you've ever been into Artrix. It's a great space. We've got a main auditorium that seats nearly 300 people, and then we've also got a studio theatre, and there's such a great range of events on. So like you say, I've got a young family. I often take them along to the cinema events and the family theatre, but there's also lots of live music in the evenings. There's quite a great folk scene happening. There's just a great range of stuff. We have exhibitions on. There's an exhibition starting this month by a painter and illustrator called Graham Wilson, so they're always available for people to see in the foyer, to just come in for free. There's a lovely cafe, so it's got a nice atmosphere as well, Artrix.
I do know the Artrix very well. I go there quite often. And one of my favourite things that you've recently started doing is the Easy Sundays.
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's we have some street food vendors, so a lovely range of fresh, interesting food for people to have, along with a screening of a film in the morning on a Sunday. So it's kind of great for a weekend. You know, when you've had a busy week and you just want to chill out and watch a film, get some good food, and there's some live music in the foyer, all free of charge, the live music. So really, it's just the cost of your cinema ticket and then grabbing a bite to eat. So it's a great day out, Easy Sundays.
Great stuff. I haven't been down to this centre. What's, the practical stuff from my point of view? What's transport and parking and things like that like?
You've just raised a really big issue, actually.
Don't talk to me about parking.
Okay.
I think our number one story in our Bromsgrove paper, the Bromsgrove Standard, is all about the parking. Basically, the parking has been owned by the college.
Okay.
And they've just
That's
started...
right. It's changed very recently, so we're extremely lucky to be, we're part of a great transport network. We're not far from the centre of Bromsgrove, not far from the M5 really, so it's really, really easy to get to. But this week we've had some parking changes. So the car park that's adjacent to Bromsgrove Artrix is owned by Heart of Worcestershire College,
right?
And they're our neighbours. So they've implemented some new parking charges. So basically we just want to keep our customers up to date with that information, let them know that there is now a charge for the nearest car park. There might be other free or cheap parking elsewhere in Bromsgrove, but the nearest car park now that's run by the college will have a parking charge. But the good news is it is free after 7 o'clock in the evening.
I was about to say, we've had so many comments on our Facebook and website and everything about this. People are really up in arms about it, aren't they? But it is free. We keep telling everyone it's free after 7, which is, most of the shows start after 7, don't they?
Yeah, most of the shows in the evening will start after 7 o'clock, and there is, I think there's a short period of time that you can drop off for as well. I think perhaps 10 or 15 minutes where you can drop somebody off and not receive a parking charge. But I think the thing that people have been a little upset about this week, and we do understand this, is that the parking you can't pay for with cash or by card. It has to be done via a pay-by-phone app.
I've seen
not
those.
Necessarily the most accessible charging for everybody, all of our customers. So we have got staff around in the foyer to help people as much as we can and advise people, try and make it as easy for people as possible. We know it's going to be a change. We're just going to have to work through it and hope for the best. And I do do think that people in Bromsgrove and further afield are really passionate about Artrix. They love coming to us and they love the range of events that we have on. So we think we can weather the parking storm.
Brilliant stuff. And I'm sorry if I opened a can of worms there.
It's
I
all right.
apologise. Tony, have you visited the Artrix Centre?
I haven't, but it's on my list now.
Excellent stuff.
As you know, I do a few
That'd be great.
cinema
We'd love to
events.
see you
And yeah. I love anything a bit independent, a bit different. You know, I love Cineworld at Touchwood, obviously, but I also love going somewhere indie like the Electric Cinema and somewhere that does things a little bit different. And it sounded great with that sort of pre-movie entertainment that you're doing as well.
Great stuff. Okay, so we've got the country band. What else is anything else coming up towards the end of next week that we can get out in our What's On?
So on Thursday the 12th, I'm afraid I can't get you a ticket to the West End showing of Fleabag, but I can get you a ticket to the National Theatre Live screening of Fleabag. So, you know, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she's the lady of the moment, really, isn't she?
Yeah,
in terms
she
of
is.
theatre and television writing.
Yeah.
And we've got the live screening of the West End production of Fleabag. So I think it's selling pretty well at the moment. It seems to be very popular, but there are still some tickets left.
Great stuff.
That'd be a good one
Is
for the
that
end of
where
the week.
they do like a nationwide simulcast?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
We have quite a few of the National Theatre Live screenings.
Wow.
Some more coming up this season as well. We often have live music and the ballet, the live ballet as well at Artrix.
Great.
So it's a great opportunity to see things that are further afield, perhaps that, like I say, you might not be able to get a ticket for the actual live event. So it's a great way of seeing it.
Eleanor, can I put you on the spot? Can I have a website address?
You can, yes. It's artrix.co.uk and our box office is 01527 577 330.
You're an absolute star. Thank you for being part of What's on Solihull, our weekly podcast, as we have a little journey around what's there, what events are coming up. Did you enjoy yourself, Eleanor?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much.
No
Thanks,
problems at
Eleanor.
all. Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks.
Solihullradio.com.
Welcome back to What's on Solihull. Joining us today, our guest presenter, Tony Elvin, General Manager from the Touchwood Shopping Centre. So he'll be here helping us along through our journey. I'm going to start with Friday the 6th of September. And of course, it's the happy birthday weekend if you've just listened to the rest of our pod. For Touchwood, we start with the Farmers Market along the High Street and Mill Lane, Solihull. That's B910NA. From 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock, support our local farmers by visiting this popular market, tempting range of local produce sourced from within a 30-mile radius of Solihull. And that's www.skets.co.uk. Cheese is my main one for that.
I thought you were going to talk about your presenting style, Jeff.
Yeah.
That was.
Nice. I love that.
I like that, yeah.
No, cheese. There's. I've walked down with you once before.
Yeah.
Wasn't there some sort of cheese stall?
I think I bought a pie.
You bought
but
a pie.
yes.
Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you mean. Yep. They're very good. Very good people. And definitely go in and support local producers.
Oh, it's so important, isn't it? And once you've done all your local shopping and got some delicious food and things, you need to head over to the Core Theatre because it's the ELO experience happening there on Friday night and also on Saturday, actually. Tickets are flying, so do get your tickets quick if you want to go. Of course, it's celebrating the music of ELO and Geoff Lynne himself. Are you fans?
Mr. Blue Sky.
It's Mr. Blue Sky, isn't it?
One of the best songs ever written.
Yeah. Diary of Forest Wimp, brilliant. All great stuff. And of course, Bev Bevan, local fella.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Have you ever had him on the show?
Yep. Yeah, he's been in this studio. I know.
Was he
great.
sitting on my seat?
He was sitting over there. Great friends with Lee Perry. Does the Dorridge Music School, and he is the patron of Dorridge Music School. So yeah, he's working quite hard at the moment.
One of my favourite ever Glastonbury moments. ELO come onto stage, quite a wet Glastonbury, sings Mr. Blue Sky appears, sun comes out, bit of warmth on your face, drying up the raindrops while you're feeling soggy. It was a
Magic.
real magic moment, yeah.
Great stuff. So that, of course, is Friday the 6th of September. Moving on to Saturday the 7th, Tony.
Okay, so we've got the Alton Library Literary Litter Pickers.
You've done well there.
Volunteers are needed for litter picks currently taking place in Alton. All equipment and bags are provided. For more information, please contact talkingrubbish@outlook.com.
I've seen these guys because one of my daughters goes to Kit McGrath, which is just next door to the library, and I've seen them wandering around. They do a fantastic job. And bags and bags of it.
It's always such a nice way to start your weekend too. If you want to feel like doing something good and making yourself feel good, go and help them. They're a great group
Womble.
of people.
Yeah, all ages as well.
Womble, yeah.
All ages. Elmdon Community Fun Day at Elmdon Park, B92 9EJ. This is 11 o'clock until 3 o'clock. There's a dog show, remote control car racing, mini market and tombola. The Mayor of Solihull, Stuart Davis again. He's everywhere,
He's
isn't
everywhere.
he? He's everywhere he goes.
I think he was today when he came to see us. He was on one of about 12 appointments today. So yeah.
He's going to draw the raffle, and refreshments are provided by Elmdon Church. So it's elmdonpark@hotmail.co.uk if you want any additional info. And I've seen Laura McCarthy. She's their local councillor. She's been tweeting a lot about counting and putting the sweets in the jar for guessing how many.
Great.
She's done that.
Great. And of course, on Saturday, the main event of the
yeah,
weekend.
this
You can tell us all about this.
Ta-da!
Yeah, so this is Touchwood 18th birthday celebrations continuing. Come and join us at our garden party in the atrium. Maybe a glass of Prosecco, a little selfie on our Touchwood Happy Birthday wall. If you post it with the hashtag Touchwood18, you could win a Touchwood £50 gift card.
Brilliant. And that's also happening all day Sunday as well.
That's right, yes.
What are the times? Do we know what the times are there? Is it from...
Just normal opening times.
Normal
Yeah,
opening
so
times,
yeah,
and-
absolutely,
okay.
yeah.
Brilliant. Come and
Which
join
is
in all the fun.
9:30 till 6 on a Saturday.
Fabulous. Moving on to Sunday, the 8th of September, we've got Dorridge Day happening at Dorridge Park. B93 8LJ is the postcode for your sat-nav. 12 p.m. until 4 p.m. This is a family fun day of entertainment. There's going to be stalls, shows. It's all organised by Noel and Dorridge Round Table. The main attractions include a BMX stunt show.
Well, they're Tony's friends that are riding through Marks and
They
Spencer.
heard us, didn't they? Yeah.
I'm glad we've managed to channel their energy.
We obviously have. And there's also going to be a dog agility show, a classic car display. It's going to be loads of fun. Entrance costs £3 per person or £7 for a family. That's 2 adults and up to 3 children. And you can find out all the details on their Facebook page, which is K and DRT. So, yeah, all the details are on that.
Great stuff. Tony, are you a softball fan?
I have never watched softball play, actually, but I'm very interested to see that Hampton and Solihull Women's Softball Cricket Festival at B91 2PF, so you can find your way there from 12 noon on the Sunday. They're promising a social fun festival with newcomers encouraged to sign and join in. No fuss, no hardball, and no complicated rules. That sounds pretty easy, doesn't it?
It does sound easy. I never know what softball is, though. Is it like rounders and baseball?
No. I think we're all confused here. I think it's softball cricket.
Yeah, okay.
It's like playing cricket with a tennis ball.
Yes. Well, I've definitely done that, yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was like rounders or
No.
baseball with a softer ball.
And that's another thing. What's the difference between baseball and softball? Bigger ball?
Softball, I guess.
Yeah.
Who knows? We need Google.
Yeah.
Because they call a baseball a hardball, don't they?
Okay, right.
Hence the reference. You're
Softball.
playing hardball with me, or
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, I'm glad we cleared all that up.
You don't just get a what's on with us.
Exactly. And then on Sunday night, this is quite exciting for Solihull. It's Pop is a Drag. It's the full-blown fabulousness of Pop World, Solihull. And Candy Fleece is ready to host the biggest Sunday party in Solihull. And it's the first LGBT plus night in Solihull.
That'd
Which
be
is
fantastic.
at a nightclub. So that's from 10 p.m. and you can find out all the details for that on popworldparty.co.uk.
And of course, if you've listened to the What's On podcast before, you may even see Ian Rogers there.
I'd like to see Ian in a bit of
Yeah,
drag.
yeah,
Maybe
a bit
he'll
of
be there
drag,
doing
he
that,
will.
yeah.
Wednesday the 11th, an evening with author Jill Sims at the core. Fun evening with author of Why Mummy Drinks, Why Mummy Swears. I've seen these books out and about, actually. Yeah. And the recently announced Why Mummy Doesn't Give a Beep. Join Jill as she is interviewed about her blog, books, character, and much more. Now, the box office for the core is 0121 704 6962, but you can also go and visit their website for more info.
She sounds a lot of fun, doesn't she? And that concludes our roundup of events to see and do this week in Solihull. And what a great podcast, guys. Thank you so much for being here, Tony. Again,
Thanks, Tony.
happy birthday. Geoff, thanks for
No
putting
problems.
on a fantastic show. And it's great to be back in our home.
It's
at
lovely being
Solihull
back
Radio.
at the studio, isn't it?
And for you guys listening, if you have an event, do get in touch with us. Let us know what's going on. Or if you want to be on the show, call us at the Solihull Observer or call Geoff at Solihull Radio. And we may just have you on as a guest. Anyway, that's enough from me. And thanks for listening. And we'll talk to you again next week. Bye.
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 You're listening to Solihull Radio.